welcome to another of our series, our podcast series, Leading Dialogues. Very happy to have with me Padraig O Hara, who is an entrepreneur, businessman. He has a wealth of experience in event management, but also in equipment for the health industry. And I'm hoping he'll tell us a little bit more about that. And so welcome, Padraig.
Thank you very much, Swamiji.
Uh, so I suppose the first question, and you're free to ask me questions too, you're currently in health equipment uh, business, buying and selling and so on, and providing. And of all the options in business, what led you to the health industry, if we want to call it that?
Um, I think that's really an interesting question. I would probably say by accident, or it was aligned. I'm not sure which. Now I would probably say it was more aligned. We can talk about that a little bit more. But yeah, I've kind of always been into my health. Um, my personality is somewhat a concept called all duck and no dinner. I dive in and I throw myself into things with enthusiasm, and I think that served me well at times. Um, how did I get into water? I was introduced to it by a very good friend of mine who had some health concerns, and he went, "Look, I've invested in this. I think it's an incredible product. You need to invest." When I saw it first, I I thought it was an expensive water ionizer. And I remember saying to him at the time, "Look, how much commission do you make on this? Because it looks like, it's a significant cost." And he was very honest and transparent. He said, "Look, I make X." But he said, "I genuinely want you to benefit from this, so I will forfeit my commission." And I went, "Well, that's very generous of you." So I bought the machine. Um, for the record, my wife is a nutritional therapist. With a lot of enthusiasm, I went home to her and I said, "Listen, I've just invested a few €1,000 in a water machine." And she said, "Well done. That's obviously another toy for you. Please leave it in the office. It will not come into this house." Uh, and and basically over time, I was drinking the water, and I had some colleagues and friends of mine who were working with me who got some huge, genuinely significant benefits from it. And eventually, my wife Jill said, "Look, I think you should take that home because you paid for it." And 14 years later, we have the system in our home, and it has served us incredibly. It saves us a fortune on buying bottled water, but more importantly, I now know the health benefits of it because the product is manufactured in Japan. And I went to Japan to see the process, to meet the CEO of the company, to understand the benefits of ionized water and hydrogen-rich water. And I've been happy to share that with people over the last 14 years. And I've built a great business, even though I'm a serial entrepreneur, as you know, Swamiji. So I do get distracted from time to time. But with some guidance from your good self, I've realized that this business serves me really well, and it's where my focus really should be, and has been. And when it has, I've been rewarded incredibly well.
Wonderful. Now, as you know, I'm a philosopher. And so I tend to take a philosophical approach to these things.
Yes, yes,
And of course, one of the obvious things about life and any approach toward life is that water is a vital thing. You cannot live without water.
mm,
Our blue planet means that most of our planet is water, on the surface anyway. And so all organic life seems to thrive on water. Um, Even if you try and duplicate life, let's say through AI, that's a big discussion.
mm.
Can you build an identical organic machine with using artificial intelligence? And the answer is, well, unless it's made from water, no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe it or not, I now that I know so much about it and I've seen the impact it's had on people's lives, um, I use this analogy. I say, if you were going to source water, the purest water on the planet, where would you go? And most people would go, well, I go to a mountain. And I said, well, you need to go a bit higher. Let's go to the Himalaya. And when the snow starts to melt, it comes down through a river, a tributary, and it hits the rocks and it gets this electrical charge. So it has all the vitamins and minerals in there naturally. And with this charge, this is like a hydrogen charge. So it's hydrogen rich water. And it's become so popular now. People are putting it in bottles and saying, hey, buy this hydrogen rich alkaline water. It's better for you. But the reality is that those bottled waters don't retain the properties and cost a fortune. But I say basically what this unit does, and it's manufactured under medical, it's the only water ionizer on the planet that's manufactured under medical equipment license. And I've tried every other product out there. I'm not saying I don't trust Swamiji, but when I see competition that's cheaper, significantly cheaper, I go, how can they do that? And when I go and examine these products and I say, do you manufacture this product under medical equipment license? They go, well, we're like this company in Agic, but we're cheaper. And I'm going, that's a race to the bottom for me. I think the foundation of this company has been based on a philosophy of true health, healthy body, healthy mind, and then healthy finance. And the healthy body and healthy mind is certainly there. And the healthy finances, they've just got a business model that's so unique because, you know, an awful lot of business people, when they get into business, they've got a great idea. They do what they love and they start and they go, this is all great. Let's have a party. I'm about to start a business. And then they go, oh my God, I need to get sales. And then they get some sales. And then they've got to go, oh my God, I have to wear a lot of hats here. I have to do accountancy. I have to do logistics. I have to make sure the product is, you know, delivered on time. I've got to do customer service. I've got to do maintenance. And now they're wearing 4 or 5 hats. And even if they progress to the next stage in a business, they've now got people working for them and they have to manage them and manage their business. And for a lot of people, I would have to say, for a lot of people, I haven't seen a business model that allows somebody to focus on what they're really good at and let the organization take care of everything else. And I suppose that's what appealed to me. You know, what do I think I'm good at? I think I'm good at serving or selling the benefits of something. I think I'm good at helping people understand how they can do the same, but don't give me logistics and don't give me VAT returns and don't give me servicing and don't give me, and they take care of all that. So it's a very unique model where the company manufacture the product, ship it directly to the customer. My role is to introduce the benefits to the consumer and they buy it directly from Japan. It gets shipped to the customer and Enagic take care of my profit from that sale. And they also take care of all the servicing and all of the logistics. And I go, it's just stress-free.
Yeah. So there are 3 things I've picked up from this. Firstly, you mentioned the word serve and sell. Very often, you know, we have this idea of somebody who sells something, sells a product, is something like the old 1950s Chevrolet secondhand car salesperson who wants to do you in kind of thing. And I know you have a philosophical approach, philosophical meaning including ethics and so on. And so it strikes me that your kind of entrepreneurship would be orientated toward serving others, including yourself included, a win-win kind of situation.
Yeah.
And that naturally seems to involve ethics. And then you said stress-free, which intrigues me because many entrepreneurs will tell me, "Oh, I have to be the everything, you know, I'm a one-man band and it's tough." And I think statistically, so I'm told that many entrepreneurial businesses fail within a very short time. But you
3
have
years.
3 years, yeah. So you have some
85%.
longevity about this. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And
what? Yes, go on. Yeah.
I was going to say, and I was presented with another opportunity on the journey. And I thought this other opportunity, which was also in health, it was in air. And I said, you know what, I'll get involved in this. I think this is a great opportunity. I invested in the product for myself and saw it. But this was more a regular business. And all of a sudden, stress came in my life. trying to hit targets, investing money, next step, next step, next step, more money invested, more sales, more distributors. And, you know, some, sometimes dealing with distributors, it's kind of like herding cats. They kind of go off all over the place. And you're trying to go, can you all just come back and almost, will you do what I want? And you realize that everybody's got a unique personality. Everybody's got a unique way of doing things. And I have learned from your good self, Swamiji. I've done an Enneagram course. I think I hold the Guinness Book of Records of doing that many. But I've learned that, you know, if you understand, seek to understand the other person, then perhaps you can help them and guide them. But when you talk about, you know, you mentioned ethics, I probably have four. The first is serve, not to sell. So I'm based on outcome first. I genuinely want the consumer or even my distributors that I have, I look at the outcome that they're going to have. Secondly, transparency. I want to be completely transparent. And sometimes that hurts me because I tell people honestly what to expect. You know, everybody thinks, oh, this is easy. So I just start and I'll be successful. And I'm going, no, you're going to have to go to work. You're going to have to perhaps change and learn new skills. And, you know, and if you don't learn those skills, then you're probably going to remain where you are. You've got to change your view, your vision, your long-term relationships are important to me. And finally, I would say fair but honest. And again, not everybody wants to hear the honesty. And I would say relating that to my overall life and how I view things. And I use the term spirituality, and everybody kind of runs away when they hear spirituality. I'm just talking about how we exist and why we exist. We're here for a purpose and a reason. I
But that's
do,
another thing, if I may
yeah.
say, that I picked up from what you said earlier, and that is you're playing to your strengths. So
I think I am.
yeah.
I think I am.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's very apparent. It's apparent probably to everybody that you're a natural person in what you're doing, and that
Mm.
means that it's not for everybody, but it means that everybody should discover what their unique skills and talents are. And we would say that they are not accidentally provided, put it that way. And so there, everybody is finding out what that is. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, you know, or building a house. Not everybody can be the interior decorator or the civil engineer or the builder or the painter or the
Mm.
electrician, etc. You know.
Mm.
So yes. So please, yes, carry on. Yes.
Yeah, I think the other thing, just to compare, you know, the water business with the Nagic and the air business. What I found with the air business was it's just more all the time. It's more sales. It's more money. It's, oh, this could be £1 million company. Oh, this could be I'm sorry, I have a partner in that business, and uh, you know, how much is enough? I think I heard somewhere recently, to live a very comfortable lifestyle, 125,000 a year is a very good income. Okay. Um, and you can do everything you want on 125,000. Not even that, but I'm just saying you could. And I realized that my business, my Enagic business, was giving me that. But when I saw this other opportunity, because I had some, as a result of that income, I had some excess money and I invested in it. Now we're talking, you know, 1 million and 2 million, and it's stressful, and I'm going, for what? To what end? You know, am I just going to get a pot of money and this concept of retirement should be taken out? Bismarck's idea, industrial age, get you when you're 20, work you to the bone, and then at 60, throw you on the dump heap and go, now go and enjoy your life with your retirement on a very small amount of money. And I go, I'm not going to do that. I will continue in this business until I drop. And I will continue to serve. And that's what's brilliant when, you know, that old analogy, and, you know, myself and yourself love rugby. It's, you know, if you find something that you love doing, you never have to work a day in your life.
That's
Why, oh, why do I get distracted by social media, by other people out there who say, oh, you can be a multimillionaire. Oh, you can just do this. And I'm going, yes, that's great for some people if they want to build an empire. But if you sit and talk to those people and really talk to them about how they feel, they'll tell you they've paid a significant price for that level of success. And you then go, so do you still love what you do? And most of those people go, no, I lost the love of what. So I'm saying, get back to what you love doing. Make sure you can get a decent reward. Look at the numbers. I have distributors now who have higher goals and ambitions than I have, and they're doing better than me. Now I get a small reward for what they do, which I think is very fair because I've helped them along the way. But they've built bigger businesses than I have, and I'm delighted for them. But for me, I honestly love what I do, and I don't know why I got distracted. And I remember talking to you at the time about this other opportunity, and you said, well, if you sit down and assess it, and if it's going to make you happy, fine. If I'd really listened to you, I probably, well, I don't know whether I would have started or not, but I certainly would have questioned it more. And that's the inner bit, that feeling of wanting to be, a good person. But one of the mantras you teach me is, good, strong, true, full, free, peace, harmony, love, beauty, abundance. It's everywhere around me. I don't need a million to enjoy that. Yes, I need to pay my bills and live my life, but there's so much stuff that's free that in the distraction of the other business, I didn't enjoy. I honestly didn't enjoy. And I would say, when I reflect on that, when I look at other people, I'm going to go really, really find something that you love. And it's okay. And sorry, that love may be, what some people look at as a menial job. I don't care. The guys who come and do the refuse collection here, great guys. And there's one guy, and he's as chirpy as a bird. He's whistling all the time, and good morning, how are you? Da, da, da. And I'm going, wow, that's what never having to work a day. But it's that person's attitude. It's how they get up in the morning. They're thankful for what they have. When the sun shines, it's great. But even when it's raining, this guy is still chirpy. And I go,
He's not British, is he? Is he British?
He is. I mean, and he's British.
Wow.
I'm going,
Okay.
what? But yeah, I honestly do, I'm 62 years of age. If I look back at my life, when I've been in business, conventional business, I don't know if I ever found that lovely balance. Was it in fact, I was stressed sometimes. I was unwell sometimes. I haven't been unwell for 14 years. I genuinely haven't been in hospital. Sorry, I had to go to the eye Specsavers people today. My left eyelid is dilated. So I had to get my eyes checked. I mean, that's about as much. And I value my health. I very much value my health because I've got people around me who haven't had great health, and I want them to.
So
So
that
yeah.
would, yeah. So you've touched on a subject that I wanted to ask you about, and that is how your approach then to life in general, that incorporates all the things that you're doing and so on and have done. How has that changed over the years? And
Oh wow. Significantly. I'm from a Roman Catholic background, so it was church on Sunday, a few Hail Marys and an Our Father, go to confession when you're supposed to, and all is good and all is well. And it was 2 hours a week. Now, I would say I am more spiritual. I'm not a holy Joe by any stretch of the imagination. But I realize that everybody finds their own way. And if we, when we talk about spirituality and we talk about the universe and, we use the term God to define what that is, most people look at those as two separate things. I go to church on a Sunday and I talk to and speak to God and say my prayers and come away. And then by Monday afternoon, I've forgotten everything that happened, on Sunday. I've learned that I'm not, I don't know and understand everybody's route to that spiritual healing or that spiritual connection. But what I've found with your guidance is every single day. We use the term mantra, and I think it's misunderstood. I think it's finding words that you can express that allow you to feel grateful and connected. And it's inside us. It's inside us all, that beauty or that spirituality or that God that we talk about. You meet somebody and you go, oh my God, you're so enlightened. It's a guy like the guy who's whistling. That guy has spirituality, and it has nothing to do with religion or structure. I don't know what he does, but whatever he does, he needs to keep doing, because he's more in touch than the guy who, is up on the pulpit going, and you should not do this, and you should not do that. I'm going, I, I've learned there's another way, and that way it's tailored to me, I would probably say, Swamiji. I would say what I have now from you is something that's been tailored to suit me. And I've met other people who've gone on the same journey, and they've tailored my own wife, Jill. She's tailored it to suit her. But, every morning I get up and I give thanks and I meditate. And that helps me. That has served me so much. I have bad days. Everybody does. But it pulls me through. And the other bit about that journey, I suppose, is I can come to you and say, I've got a challenge. I don't always listen to the answer you give me or the advice you give me, but I say, I have a challenge. What should I do? And you relate that to me as a person internally to who I am. And that's invaluable. That's the magic bit. Am I wandering a bit and drifting a bit in my answers to you? I don't know.
No, I mean, what you're saying is very valuable. Formally, of course, we describe what we're talking about in terms of working or in terms of any question. Can you be spiritual and practical at the same time, is what we call karma yoga, of course.
Yeah.
And that is doing everything mindfully, joyfully, and not worrying about the results that you get. In other words, renouncing the fruits, as we call them, or the effects of all your activities. And that gives you an opportunity, and anybody an opportunity, to center yourself in the ever-present present.
Yeah.
And that is an important thing, whether you're atheist, not atheist, that is important, because the alternative is a stressful life, orientated either to the future or regret for the past, whichever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
and sorry, just one other thing, because
yeah,
I've just been 14 days on the road doing exhibitions, and just to relate it to that,
yeah,
so I met some incredible people at these events, and we achieved some sales. But then some people said, well, I want to go away and do my research. I want to do whatever. And, since I've come back, I've been following up, and they haven't responded immediately to me. And I'm going, what's with these people? They all said to me when they met me, oh, we are so interested, and please do contact us like immediately, urgently, because we want to know more. And I go, I've contacted them now, they haven't come back to me. And I kind of go, right.
Is that an Irish thing, though, also?
It probably is. It probably
when I
is.
first came to Ireland, I learned a lesson. When somebody says, yes, we'll see you soon, means we'll never see you at all. Anyway,
Well,
your whole life we'll never see you again.
And here's the other bit that I found. Sorry, you talk about cultures. The Japanese who I deal with, right? No doesn't exist in their vocabulary. So you say, so I think we should do this, guys. I think this would be an improvement. They go, okay, maybe. And then maybe means no, but I'm being polite.
Yes.
And then if you have a cracking idea, and they very rarely say this, yes means, well, we're now going to investigate it. It doesn't even mean yes. And I'm going, have you got a word for, like, Yes, I'll do it. Ah! Um, but yeah, I mean, different cultures and different approaches. Um, like, I look at the world out there right now. I was, like I said, I was in London, I was in Berlin, we were on the tube, and I was looking at the amount of people who were looking at their phone. And I just went, I'm sorry, I know everybody goes on it, but there's nothing wrong with looking at your phone. There's nothing wrong with looking at a podcast or whatever. But invariably, people were moving their tongue. So they weren't necessarily reading something or watching something. And I'm going, that is social media at its best. It's got you. And you have to get away from that. And if you can find, a half
Well,
an hour in the morning. Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, go on.
Well, would it be true to say then that without concentration, variously called a number of things, mindfulness, etc.,
Yeah.
but without that, then any enterprise is likely to be shaky to the point of possible failure, would you?
Yeah, I would. I would absolutely 100% say that with conviction.
Yeah, yeah. And that's
Yeah.
a very ancient teaching, of course. Overall, we call this yoga, of course, Yoga meaning a unity, even psychologically, a union between your attention and the object of your attention, that
Mm.
kind of thing. We're going to finish this off soon, but I just a last kind of question to you. Uh,
Mm.
do you have any message for young entrepreneurs going forward?
Um, yeah, I suppose first go for it. Don't hesitate. Um, it's never going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. And it might never be as good as you think it's going to be, but you're never going to know unless you jump. I've met some incredible, people say, oh, what are we going to do? The next generation. Next generation are incredible. Some fabulous people I've seen out there. So I would say to anybody who's got a business idea or an entrepreneur, get out there and do it. One little proviso. If you can find somebody that you trust who could be the wise mentor. And I'm not talking about going to Tony Robbins and paying him €5,000 to go to a one-day seminar. Okay, they're great. If you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm talking about build a network. Don't go out networking, stabbing people with their business card, with your business card. Build a network of people around you that you can trust from different backgrounds and different walks of life that you can go and you can say, look, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me? That may have some experience. If you can get some people around you that will help you, there's a thing called Dragon's Den. Now, the principle of Dragon's Den is that somebody sees a really good idea with a young entrepreneur or with an entrepreneur, forget about age, and they go, I'm going to invest in your business and I'm going to bring my wisdom and experience to help you. Now, I don't know the results of some of those companies, but I'd say their chance of being successful is greater, not because of the money they got, but because of the mentorship they got. So I would say mentorship. And if you're lucky like me and you can find a very, very wise mentor who's had an experience in life and who's plugged in spiritually, then you'll never make the wrong decision. But 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 you'll make a decision and you'll go forward and you'll learn from it. God knows I've made loads of mistakes in business. Um, but I'm happy where I'm at. Would I change a single thing? At times I think I would, but I go, but if that didn't end up being the person you are today, would you change a single thing? And I'm going, no. I am truly grateful for what I've got today. And so yeah, I would say to people, go for it. Yes, do your homework. Listen to the right people. There's an awful lot of people when you come up with a business idea who'll put you down. Don't ever let that distract you. You go for it. And what's the worst going to happen? It's going to work. It's not going to work. And make sure, if you can, that you can find a business model. I've been lucky enough to find a business model with Enagic that just allows me do what I do really well and they do what they do really well. And there's a synergy. That's the magic. And
Sorry, you mentioned that you were involved in
yeah,
water machinery,
ionization. Yeah,
ionization,
yeah.
and so on, and air also, I think you mentioned.
Mm,
So,
mm.
would you like to name those products?
Okay, so Enagic is the parent company. They're based in Japan. I happen to be one of the top distributors in Europe. So I either share the opportunity with people and say, here's a really good business opportunity, have a look. It's not going to cost you a fortune. And if it's for you, great, I'll mentor you along the way. So that's the Enagic business. The air is green tech. And we've been lucky enough now to get some contracts with social housing, where there's a big mold issue in the UK right now, and with the Ministry of Defence. So we're now starting to, I suppose, break through. And we also work in the horticulture industry indoors, where people grow indoors and humidity is an issue. We deal with mold and stuff. So they're the two businesses I'm involved in. The one that has served me best, has never let me down, has been Enagic. And I don't know if I've always been fair to it, but I am now, because as you know, we had a conversation recently where I went, I need to figure out where I'm going here. Have I got the energy and the time and the bandwidth to do both? And the answer is, I need to focus on the one that I love. And I don't know if somebody has a better business model than Enagic out there, please contact me, email me, contact you, Swamiji. Get it, like the podcast. And sorry, in relation to technology as well, this is a podcast. This is a new way of doing things. First podcast I've ever done. But when you're looking at podcasts, which I think are great, this is part of social media, find ones that serve you. And then follow that thread. If you like something in a pop, get to the next one. In your situation, Swamiji, I know you've got some stuff up there on YouTube with just a beautiful meditation exercise. You don't have to do anything. You just need to turn it on and listen to you and sit. And I think follow those things and stay close to those things, because they will keep you grounded. They will keep you true to who you really are.
The one thing I never do is listen to my own YouTube videos, voices, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. I certainly am going to listen to this. I don't know why do we not like our own voice. I don't know.
But I want to thank you very much for sharing that. Of course, this leading dialogues really has a theme to it, and the theme would be basically on the spirituality of oneness, where we dialogue with people of different kinds of genres and different kinds of people with different kinds of occupations and different interests. And so the whole idea is, do we find some common ground in spirituality? And I think we have discussed that there is, because you've mentioned a few points. You've mentioned dealing with different kinds of people, different kinds of cultures. You've mentioned the way of approaching work, and in the devotional language, we call it worship.
Worship, yeah.
The joy of doing that.
Yeah.
And requiring all the qualities that are necessary in a fruitful life, whatever it is: persistence, enthusiasm, not giving up, faith in yourself, faith in the resources around you, and all of those kinds of things. And that automatically leads to success unasked. If we ask for it, we're not likely to get it, because it's a kind of negation. I want it, I haven't got it, +1, -1, nothing's happening. But to remain extremely positive, not just trying to be positive. Very often when we use this word positivity, it's not positive at all. It's trying to be positive, and that negates the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, you are positive. As I always say, it's not glass half full, glass half empty. It's glass always full and overflowing. That's everywhere.
And if I may say one thing, that you introduced me to Florence Scovel Shinn and her writings and some of her affirmations. One affirmation that has absolutely worked for me: unexpected doors are open and unexpected channels are free. And when I say unexpected, there isn't a day that there isn't an unexpected opportunity or an unexpected channel that's open, and I go, I have no idea where that came from. But that affirmation opens the channels, opens the opportunities, and rewards me. I just need to stay very much in tune with them and not listen to the other noise.
Yeah, and that's why that book is, Florence Scovel Shinn writes the book, I think in the 1930s already. It's an old book, but puts it as the game of life and
how to play it.
And
Yeah.
fortunately, both you and I, as you mentioned previously, are enthusiasts about this brutally wonderful game of called rugby.
Yeah.
And that's the model for life. There has
Yeah.
to be an opposition. There has to be something unexpected. Otherwise, what kind of game is it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're equipped to get around the so-called obstacles. Yes.
Yes. Once we can defeat South Africa in the World Cup final next to Australia, or anybody who's from South African, I don't care who they are. Ireland are due a win, and we have to do it next time. I'm thinking of going. You might come with me.
Okay. I'll see if I can hold you to that. That's all good.
Yes.
Padraig, it's been an absolute pleasure having you to discuss these things. Thank you for sharing your experience and your knowledge on entrepreneurship and the particular field that you're in also, and giving us a useful, practical way of applying spirituality in a practical way. And so, thanks.